Hello and welcome to your Arsenal Brighton preview on the Arsenal Bite Size podcast. I'm your host Clayton and we're doing the rounds. We're stealing the Planet FPL correspondent. So we had Tom on to preview the Brentford game, and today I'm delighted to welcome Sam, who is the Planet FPL Brighton correspondent. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. Hope we're all doing very well.
Yeah, we're doing all right. I think we're two clubs in kind of different spells at the minute, but maybe with some underlying similar emotional themes. Like, I think we can be perceived as a bit of a spoilt fan base because we are on a very decent run, but there's definitely pockets of the fan base that are a little bit unhappy with some of the performances and stuff like that. But the output has been there. We haven't lost in a while now. Yeah, but Brighton is a team that always makes me nervous. Always. We obviously dropped points against you at the start of the season. That was a weird game because of the red card and everything. But yeah, we won't talk about that. But very interesting.
Ages ago, that didn't it?
It does. Yeah, this season has definitely felt. I wouldn't say a drag, but yeah, it feels like it's been going on a while. And we're in the thick of it now. Even like planning content schedule for this, it's like games every 3 days for basically until the middle of February. So yeah, but looking forward to previewing the game with you. Before we do get into the match, I always like to know a little bit more about the kind of story behind you, I guess, as the fan, and how you got into supporting Brighton. You've been on such an amazing journey as a football club, and like Brighton, like Brentford, to be fair, it's a team that I have a bit of a soft spot. I'm a bit of a nerd with like data and processes and stuff like that. And I think obviously it's well documented how well Brighton's been run. So yeah, really curious to see and hear about how you got into supporting Brighton and some of your highlights in your time supporting the club so far.
Yeah, well, I've been a Brighton fan since birth. Born in Brighton, whole family supports Brighton, so no choice there whatsoever. I'm 23, so I'm born at quite a good time in terms of the rise of Brighton Hove Albion. Obviously, we had some darker days before, in the 80s and the 90s. But I'm very lucky to support a club because it's my local in the Premier League. I've watched it in Europe, and like you said, we're well run. We're owned by a fan. But yeah, I'm more lucky because of the journey. I think like it's such a unique experience for a football fan to see the climb through the leagues. Like my first proper memories were Brighton towards the bottom of League One. I'll get the match day programme and I'll see every week we were 18th and 19th in League One. I'll go to my football training and there'll be two of us out of 25 wearing a Brighton shirt maybe, and people ask your team and you say Brighton, it's, well, who's your Premier League team? Who do you watch in the Premier League? But they were absolutely some of the best days. My dad taking me up to Walsall away on a school night, pitch invasions against Stockport, staying up against Stockport, promotion against Dagenham, all that sort of stuff. And then fast forward a bit, it's been up and up and up, and watching the same club with the same people I watched us with in League One and the Championship, but in Europa League, beating Ajax away, beating Athens away. Yeah,
you went to them as well, didn't you?
Yeah, wasn't missing those. Yeah, we never. Well, you don't know if we'll get a chance like that ever again. Couldn't quite. I mean, the whole thing was a bit unbelievable. That whole season, qualifying for Europe, and then the whole summer you excited for the draw, and we drew Ajax and Marseille, and Athens as well. I mean, what a draw that is! Some brilliant places, and
I don't think you could pick two more mental away days if you tried, and then one of like the most historic clubs in Europe, right?
So, Marseille away was our first away game in Europe, and it was thrown straight in at the deep end with travelling and stuff to the game the night before. There's a bit of always a few videos of trouble and all sort of stuff. I'm thinking, oh God, what we got?
And Marseille fans are known for that sort of stuff as well, right?
But it was just amazing. Yeah, still quite unbelievable what happened, and some brilliant games. Walking around places like Athens and bumping into people that you know from down the road. We go to all the other games, and you bumped into him in Brighton, and you see him in Amsterdam. It's really, really good fun. All I ever want again is to see us in Europe, any sort of Europe, traveling away with my dad, my mates, my grandma. She comes as well. She's 70 odd, and she still comes along to all the games. Yeah,
she loves
it. Really, really good. Yeah, she does.
That's brilliant. I'm so confident you'll get your European campaign again, whether it's this season or not. I just think you are one of the most sustainably well-run clubs around. And one thing I'm curious on, it's like you kind of described there going Walsall away midweek with your dad and kind of looking in the match program in League One being 18th, 19th. Was there a moment you look back on and think that was the one significant change that was like the domino effect on this sustainable growth that you've seen?
Yeah. It's Tony Bloom. Tony Bloom taking over, and he always had the plan straight away to get us our own stadium, because we were playing at Withdean. Again, some great memories at Withdean, but it was not fit for football league. Getting Tony Bloom in, and we had, obviously he's a fan running the club. Got a bit of money, but it's nice when it's a fan owned still. Got the stadium, and then Gus Poyet coming in and taking us up from League One into the Championship. That was the season in League One where really everyone came together. I fell in love with it there, and it was Gus Poyet playing some amazing football in League One, stuff we'd never thought we were capable of, and we even thought at that point, is this as good as it's ever going to get, winning League One? But yeah, I always remember it was March or April, and we had 8 games in the month, and I always thought, well, if we can get 5 or 6 wins here, maybe we could go. We won all 8. We absolutely flew through it, and from then on, it's just been brilliant.
I think
that League One season, and the first season we had in the Championship was at the Amex, so it felt like a new start, I think.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing. Like, even you described there the kind of identity of how you were playing under Poyet, but it feels like you've maintained that even coming to the Premier League. Like, obviously under Potter, De Zerbi, now Hurzeler, like the style of play, like obviously they all have their differences under those managers, but you can tell there is like a holistic strategy there and the identity of Brighton. And I think it's amazing how you've been able to do that. The transfer recruitment, you probably get bored of hearing about it from outside fans, but it's only out of respect, to be honest. It's absolutely mind-blowing. I want to bring it to this season and kind of how you were feeling once De Zerbi left, and then how you were feeling about Hurzeler's appointment, and what's the kind of perspective on Brighton's season so far? We're obviously bang on halfway through the domestic campaign now, and you're bang in the middle of the table. So it's 19 played, 27 points, 6 wins, 9 draws, 4 losses. But I guess a lot of it may be influenced by the last 7 games, because you haven't won since Bournemouth, right? So what's the kind of holistic view at the minute in the Brighton camp?
Yeah, so I mean, if you think of 2024 as a whole, we sort of finished last season slow. We struggled towards the end with the Europa games and the injuries, and De Zerbi leaving was always when you're a team like Brighton, your players and your manager, you're enjoying it in the moment, but at some point it's going to come to an end. De Zerbi leaving was, I love De Zerbi. Got us Europa League football, always be a hero here. Very sad to see him go, and then you kind of have to trust in the board now. They're going to pick the right person. Remember when De Zerbi first left, you sort of look through the odds and the managers we're being linked with, and you think, oh no, I don't really like any of them. But it's going to be someone completely left field, and Hurzeler is that. I don't think many people would have heard of him. He's obviously so young, but he does suit us.
He's like 31 or something.
Something like 32. Something like that. He's younger than quite a few of the players, which is. It's a risk, and I think if it goes wrong, that's the first thing that everyone looks at, right? It's the age, it's the experience. But we spent a lot of money. A lot of that money was money we'd got from sales over the years. We've been making some money on some big sales, so we went on a bit of a spree. A lot of unproven players, typical sort of Brighton players that from foreign leagues. It's been okay. It's still early days of Hurzeler. I think the last 6 or 7 games you mentioned have been tough, and most people are still pretty sensible when it comes to Brighton. We know sort of where we belong, but I've seen a few shouts of people not too happily with Hurzeler already, which is a bit crazy, to be honest. We've had a few injuries. It's been difficult to really get a consistent team, and even when we have had a bit of consistency, I'm not sure it's the lineup or the system Hurzeler really came here. We thought he was going to play. Maybe we thought it was a bit of a back 3 he was going to play with a bit of pace at the back. We don't have pace, so he's had to adjust it a little bit. System-wise, like comparing it to someone like De Zerbi, who had such a clear, unique tactic, it's not quite the same. But then, hopefully, that's something that changes as time goes on. Players become more familiar, and we get a few players that suit his system. But 10th place, 3 points off 7. On the face of it, it's fine, and it is fine. It's a tough league. The teams in and around us, you've got Fulham, Bournemouth, Villa, mean, Forest have flown up the table. There's a lot of good teams in this league, especially in the middle of the table. It's just the way the season's unfolded. It's been very frustrating. We know we can do better.
Yeah, I guess the flip side of that though is like if you manage to get everyone fit and he's able to pick from a fully healthy squad, then like the fact that you've managed to be 10th, 3 points off 7th, like you've said, like I guess the flip side of that is it can only get better if everyone is fit and available, which probably makes you feel quite excited for what's ahead.
Yeah, we have such a high ceiling and there's so much potential here. I wouldn't necessarily blame injuries too much this season. I think we've still got the quality we've had on the pitch is still good enough. Like compared to last year, we really didn't have the depth at all to cope with the injuries and the extra games, and we struggled. It's just, I mean, we've beaten Man United, we've beaten Tottenham, we've beaten Man City, we went to St James's Park and won as well. It's just those draws. It's just draws against Ipswich at home, Southampton at home, the 0-0 at home to Brentford the other day. I think the Wolves and the Leicester ones are the most annoying. 2-0 up against Wolves at home with 2 minutes to go, and we draw that game. Same at Leicester, 5 minutes to go, I think it was, with 2-0 up. We drew that game. So it's so many drop points that no matter where we are at the end of the season, you're going to be looking up and thinking, what if we held on there? What if we held on here? And you start putting yourself in 6th and 5th in the league. It's not how it works. We're probably about where we belong, but we can do better.
Fair play. Well, we'll turn the attention to tomorrow. So we'll start with Brighton. So the line, have I attached the wrong lineup? The lineup I've put, no, it's the correct one from your last game against Villa. It was Verbruggen in goal, Lamptey, Van Heck, Dunk, Igor in there. It was Ayari and Baleba, and then Gruder and Ciso, Adingra and Joao Pedro. I'm looking at the predicted lineup on FOTMob's app, just because it gives me a nice succinct list of injuries and illnesses. And I'm going to read out the list they've got here. And I guess you can tell me if it's accurate based on information you may have seen in Hurzeler's presser. So it's got Gomez, Estupinan, Kadioglu, Hinshelwood, Milner, Weaver, Welbeck, and Ferguson again. Is that pretty much bang on?
Yeah. I think the one we might have back is Estupinan. He was out with an illness against Villa. I think Hurzeler said hopefully back, but it's one of them they'll see, I think, today, tomorrow sort of thing. Kadioglu, he's been out for 2 months and hasn't healed as they thought. So now he had an operation yesterday, so he's going to be out for another probably couple of months, I'm not sure. Hinshelwood's close, and then you got Ferguson and Welbeck as well, which is big business. But especially for Ferguson, with Welbeck out, you think it's finally his chance really to get a few games, and he's out injured at the same time, which is a bit gutting for him. Yeah, but we're missing a few players.
How highly do you rate Ferguson? Because I've seen him a handful of times, and I've seen the way the external kind of world rates him. But what's your view as a Brighton fan that's obviously watched him more than everyone else?
Yeah, I do like Evan Ferguson. I'm a Ferguson fan, and I want him to succeed more than anyone, because the way he came through, and he burst on, didn't he? He scored a few goals, and you thought, we've got a player here. And the way he plays as well, it's not like we had sort of like a Connolly come through and he got a few goals and he never really stuck. But you can tell with Ferguson that he's got such a clever footballing brain. He's a brilliant ball striker. I mean, people have compared him to like Kane and all that sort of stuff. And then that's when it becomes like a bit of pressure. I don't think he's ready to be the number 9 every week, but he's got so much potential, and stocks are low right now. He hasn't played much in the last year. I feel like he's been injured a lot, and when he has played and you're coming back from an injury, it's 20 minutes here and there. And to be honest, he hasn't looked brilliant off the bench. And when he has got a start, he hasn't been great. But there's definitely a player in there, and all it takes is a few goals, bit of fitness back again. Hopefully, he can keep these injuries away. And I do really rate him.
Yeah, no, it's a shame to see that when that happens to such a young player as well, who is clearly that talented. Just turning attention back to tomorrow, what do you think your starting 11 will be? And I guess areas for Arsenal to be aware of I think I immediately as a fan get concerned about your wide attackers and your centre forward and Pedro. But yeah, where would you say your strengths are and potential areas of weaknesses as well? And how do you think you'll actually approach the game tomorrow?
Yeah, so when we got the back four we had against Villa was Lamptey, Dunk, Van Heck and Igor. And when you've got centre back at left back like Igor, and then you've got someone like Lamptey on the right who wants to really get forward. It was sort of like a back three at times, a bit lopsided. Lamptey would bomb on. I think it'll be Veltman back in at right back tomorrow. He's just recently come back from injury. Didn't get any minutes against Aston Villa. Just manage him a little bit. I expect him to start at right back. Dunk, Van Heck, and then if Estupiñán is fit and ready to go, he'll start. If not, it'll probably be Igor again. Midfield, we've got Belieber in there, who's one of the standouts this season.
Now, so good.
Obviously, always knew he had the potential. Took a while to settle, but he's the main man in midfield now. He's such a great footballer, technically and physically as well. You look at him; he's quite a big player. You think he's going to be, a bit clunky, but with the ball at his feet, he's brilliant. He's becoming that Basuma Caicedo team we've had in the last few years, where they go into a 50-50 and they come out with the ball every time. And if anything, he's got more in his locker going forward than them. Still so young. Yeah, brilliant player. And then next to him, that's where we've had a bit of chopping and changing. Ayari's played a lot more this season than we expected. He's done a solid job. This kind of game, I would have liked Mats Wiefer in there probably, just for a bit of extra defensive help. I think he's going to be out. I'm not sure. He wasn't available against Villa, and Hurzeler said no changes. So I don't think he's going to be available. So probably Matarali in there. Legs in that midfield, definitely. And then the forward line. I mean, we have some great depth up front. Load of different profiles up there, and a lot of it is just letting them do their thing. You've got individual quality there everywhere. Probably, I mean, Matoma. I think we've done a good job on the left. Matoma comes back in, I'd expect, on the left.
He's someone that terrifies me. I think we're going to have to play Partey at right back, and that is a matchup I'm not looking forward to.
Yeah, that could be good for us. You got Pedro, who is our best player. You want him on the ball as much as possible. He's sort of been playing as a 9 without Ferguson and Welbeck, and it's not quite his best position. He's good everywhere, but you want him in the 10. You want him getting involved. He loves to create. He loves to drop in and drift around and float. So just having him in there would be good. I would say probably Jorginho as well in there, kind of as the 9-10, but a lot of flexibility with them too. And then right wing,
Arsenal fans have just thought, "What, you've signed Jorginho from us?"
Jorginho Rutter. Yeah, we're not on first name basis. It's the name he's got on the back of his shirt. So I don't know how to pronounce his surname. Rutter. I don't know. Jorginho.
Yeah, I've gone with Rutter as well. I don't know.
I mean, again, it could be Enciso. Enciso's a bit of chaos. Loves a shot. I think he had 8 in the first half against Brentford. He just every time he gets it, he can hit a ball. To be fair, he got nominated for the Puskas once, and then now every time he gets it, his eyes light up and he goes for top corner. Probably Rutter and Pedro, and then on the right, it's quite tough. It could be any of them. Gruder's started the last 3 and done well. Gruder's more of a technical player. He's sort of like a Grealish sort of player. I think he's really quick with the ball at his feet. If he gets those one-on-one situations a little bit better, maybe a bit of a better ball striker, then he can be really, really good. But he's done well. And then Minter, of course, as well. I think it's tough. I think it's between
you're
Gruder and
stacked
Minter.
with options, aren't you?
Yeah, there's loads. I think I'm going to go Minter from the start on the right, but it really is a case of, I mean, whoever starts out there, the last half an hour, we can bring on quality either way,
And with that kind of 11-ish in mind, how do you think you'll actually approach the game? I know you touched on earlier, like you haven't really been able to see Hurzeler's kind of pure tactical identity because of the kind of momentum shifts that have happened this season. Now, how do you think you'll approach this game in isolation? Because from the Arsenal lens, we're coming up a bit of a theme where whether it's by design or the areas we play, we tend to face a lot of low blocks now, and that's not something I typically associate with Brighton. But do you think is that something you might deploy, or how do you see it going?
I think we'll give it a go. Earlier on in the season, we were a little bit. I mean, we really tried to have a high line, and by high line, it was on the halfway line. Got away with it a few weeks, and we had that game at Stamford Bridge where it was suicide. That first half, we had a high line with Webster and Duncan. Palmer scored 4. They probably could have scored about 7 in the first half. So since then, he's kind of dropped the line back a little. It's still a high line. still try and get the team up the pitch, press in. As soon as we lose the ball, we're back on it, and that helps when we've got Belieber and O'Reilly midfield covering a lot of ground. Pedro's involved in everything. He'll drift around, and we do get a lot of joy out wide. There's definitely been times where, I think against Leicester, we brought on Minter towards the end. The tactic was kind of just give it to him, and he's the outlet. I think we will be looking at the Arsenal team, and it's difficult to find weaknesses. Of course, Pedro can try and keep the centre backs busy, but then it's out wide. You got Minter, you got Matoma, you got Dingo, Gruder, anyone out there. Yeah,
Sure.
It's about staying in it, staying in the game, giving ourselves a chance. And then final 30 minutes, bring on some more legs out wide and give it a go. We've had an extra couple of days rest, I think, as well, so it could make a difference.
No, it makes sense, and especially so I guess that kind of goes on to the Arsenal team news now. So Timber's suspended, Ben White, Tomiyasu are both injured, but the update from Arteta today was, I took it as positive-ish. Tomiyasu's someone that he's just fallen off the face of the earth. So the fact that his name resurfaced today in the presser was encouraging. Arteta said he's been doing some work on the grass. Still have to kind of manage that because it's been a long-term knee injury. White, he was asked whether he might feature before the end of the month, and he hesitated, but he said possibly. But just from the Arsenal perspective, it's really great if we can have him and Tomiyasu back soon, just because the period coming up is an absolute nightmare with only Jurriën Timber as our kind of fit and recognised right back. On the left-hand side, I think it will be Calafiori. And just speaking about your attacking options there, Calafiori is someone that defensively does worry me a bit. I don't know if you saw Mbumo's goal the other day. I personally didn't think Calafiori did much wrong there. But there's other areas of his game where I do think he can be got at. So, yeah, I think that's one to keep an eye on there. So definitely think in wide areas you'll be able to cause us problems 100% in this game. So from the Arsenal perspective, I think it'll be Raya in goal. Obviously, right back, like I said, I think it will be Partey, Saliba, Gabriel. I think Calafiori will keep the shirt for this one. I think there's some people talking about Miles Lewis-Skelly. I think just because we have to play Partey at right back, I don't think he'll go and play Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back as well. I think it will only be Miles Lewis-Skelly if we've got the kind of three solid first choice defenders in Timber or White, Saliba, Gabriel next to him in that defensive line. Some Arsenal fans have been asking, what about Lewis-Skelly at right back? I just don't see it. I think when you're bleeding in a young profile and a young player like that, you just play them in the areas they feel comfortable. That feels like for a left footer to go and play him right back. Not sure I see it. So back five, I think, will be same as Brentford, just the one enforced change of Partey in for Timber, which then opens up, what do we do in midfield? Havertz is supposedly back from his bug. He should be back from the bug because Arteta speaks very cryptically, as we all know. So yeah, Havertz is back available for selection. I think Rice will be at the base in this game. Odegaard will obviously play. So what we do at left 8, I'll come back to. Front 3, I think we'll see some changes. I don't think Waneri will start in this game. I think Martinelli will shift to the right. And the reason I think that is, if we look at the pod on the right-hand side of Partey, Odegaard, and then the right winger, I think if it's Partey, Odegaard, the right winger needs to be someone like a Martinelli, someone that more keeps the width and holds the touchline, because Partey's not really going to be that overlapping fullback per se when Waneri and Odegaard come in. Whereas if we did have Timber or White, I could see Waneri playing that position. But for this game, because it's going to be Partey right back, I just see it being more of a touchline, get to the byline kind of wide forward in Martinelli. I think Jesus will keep his place in this game. He's scoring, so it'll be quite harsh to drop him at this point, even if it would be dressed as a rest. And then I think it means Trossard comes back into the starting 11. And Arteta kind of touched on the reason he opted for Waneri against Brentford was obviously he thought he was the right player for that position for that game, but also the kind of connection, and that's the stadium where he made his debut. So I wonder if there's something in him thinking a similar line of starting Trossard against his former team. That then leaves one spot open, which I've not picked, which is the left 8, and I'm torn between Havertz or Merino. I think you spoke about O'Reilly partnering Belieber in midfield, which makes me want to, like, if it was me, I'd go Merino. But I can't work out if Arteta will go Marino or Havertz for this game. I'm going to go with Marino. I just think he'll opt for the actual midfielder, look to ease Havertz back in, because then after you guys, we've actually got the first leg of our semi-final on Tuesday. So I think, that's the 11 I'll go with. I think Raya, Partey, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Rice, Marino, Odegaard, Martinelli, Jesus, Trossard. And that leads into the score prediction. So you spoke a little bit about the areas you think Arsenal need to be wary of, and I definitely agree. I just want to shout out my good friend Mike Halpins, who's in the chat. Good afternoon, mate. Let us know your score predictions. But I think tactically the way this game will be so interesting. Like, I can definitely see periods where you get the ball, you ping it into the wide areas very quickly, very aggressively, and we're kind of stuck in 1v1 battles. But I'm nervous for this. Is this one where, before you give your score prediction, how are you actually feeling about the game? Like, confidence-wise?
I'm never too confident going into Brighton games. I was confident the other week before the Leicester game, and that backfired. I mean, these sort of games at the Amex as well, I think we have quiet confidence. We've done well against the top teams this season. Definitely not saying we're going to win, but I'm definitely I look forward to these games more than I do when we play Wolves or Southampton at home, because
Why is that out of interest?
It's just typical Brighton. It seems to happen every season now. We play against the teams, and again, no disrespect, they come into the Amex, and it's the way you play against us. If you sit back and counter us, we can't really.
No, you're preaching to the choir here.
And we've never been able to stop it. We're with our Potter, De Zerbi. It seems to be the same thing every year. But we've had a good record against the teams in the top, and it's the draws that have been a problem. We haven't actually lost too many. Not saying we're going to win, but I look forward to these games, and I'm glad you're a bit nervous.
I think it would be a bit naive not to be honest. Like, we're definitely. I know on the face of it, the scoreline 3-1 against Brentford away from home is impressive, and it is, especially as we were 1-0 down. But there were periods in that first half where it wasn't all rosy at all. The Ipswich game wasn't perfect. We obviously saw, like, we beat Palace, which you would have been delighted with, I'm sure. Between,
enjoyed that.
Like, we beat them fairly comfortably, but prior to that, it was Everton. Like, I think it's one of these where at the minute with Arsenal, we're without Bukayo Saka, right? He's our best and most important player, and there are going to be spells in games where we don't look as aesthetically pleasing, and there will be periods in the game where the opposition, I think, can grow into it, and especially a club like yourself where you've got lots of talent, it'll be hard to fully keep you guys out. I do think we can go there and over the course of 90 minutes, hopefully do enough to go and win. I just don't think it'll be comfortable. I'm going 2-1 away win. Mike's in the chat. He's got a 2-1 away win, but I don't think it will be I do think it will be close. I don't think it will be easy at all. What do you think?
I was going to go for a 2-1 as well. Yeah,
really? Okay,
we're all agreed there. Yeah, I think. I mean, we'll give it a go. It will be an interesting one. I don't think we've got a few too many times in the last few games. It's just been a bit of a lack of maturity, a lack of concentration, just silly mistakes. Or we'll give away a silly goal, and Arsenal, the type of team that will punish you there. It'll be an interesting
say that. I think that's an area we need to improve on. I don't think we're clinical enough. We were good at it against Brentford, but that's definitely an area I think we need to improve on. So one to keep an eye on.
Yeah. I think it'll be a good game. Yeah, but I think you got enough 2-1, as well.
All right, well, fingers crossed we're all correct. No, Sam, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for jumping on and previewing the game for us. Really good luck for tomorrow. You said you're going to be going, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Nice one. Enjoy it, and good luck for the rest of the season. Where can everyone follow you on the socials?
Nice one. I'm at FPL Seagull on Twitter.
Nice one. Go follow him there. Chat, Sam, thanks again. Cheers, everyone. Perfect. Fingers crossed. It's it's a chance for us to psychologically go 2 points behind Liverpool, despite them having 2 games in hand. It will then become Sunday. So fingers crossed we can go to the Amex tomorrow, get 3 points on the board, and close that gap. Sam, thank you very much. Cheers, everyone, for watching. If you've enjoyed this and you're watching live, please drop the stream a like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future episodes. And if you're listening on podcast, please give it a 5-star review. I'll be back with Bobby on Sunday to review the game. Cheers, everyone. Up the Arsenal.
Cheers.